Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're going to be detectives, and we're cracking open one of history's biggest cold cases. Our only job? To follow the evidence, no matter where it takes us.
You've probably heard this, right? That faith and evidence are, total opposites, that you have to pick one or the other. But what if that's the wrong way to look at it? What if faith isn't a blind leap at all, but more like how a detective solves a really, really old case?
And right here, this is our first critical clue. The idea isn't blind faith, just believing something for no reason. It's reasonable faith. A detective doesn't just guess who did it. They build a case, they look at all the clues, and then they make their conclusion. That's the kind of faith we're looking at here, a conclusion based on the evidence.
So, here's our game plan. We're not hunting for one single smoking gun. Real detective work is about building a cumulative case, putting things together piece by piece to see if all the clues point in the same direction.
Okay, first things first, let's bust a major myth. The idea that faith means you have to turn off your brain. Well, the biblical authors actually said the complete opposite. They practically dared people to investigate their claims and to really think about them. And check this out. See that word defense? In the original Greek, it's apologia. Now that's a straight-up legal term. It means making a logical, evidence-based case, like a lawyer in a courtroom. This is not a call for blind belief. It's a command to have your facts ready. So where does any detective start? With the main documents, the case file. For us, that means opening up this ancient document, the Bible itself. So the big question is, how reliable is it really?
Now this is pretty wild when you stop and think about it. We're talking over 40 different authors, from kings to fishermen to doctors, writing over a span of 1,600 years on different continents, and yet somehow it tells one single cohesive story from start to finish. That kind of consistency is, well, it's pretty remarkable, and it's our first piece of evidence.
But you might be thinking, sure, but how do we know it wasn't just a giant game of telephone, that the words didn't get all twisted over the centuries? That was a huge criticism for a long, long time. And then, in 1946, everything changed because of a shepherd boy and a bunch of old clay jars.
This discovery was a total game changer. I mean, scholars could now compare these ancient scrolls to manuscripts from 1,000 years later. And what did they find? They were virtually identical. It was stunning physical proof that the words had been copied with incredible care for centuries.
And it's not just the words inside the book. Archaeology keeps digging up stuff that backs up the biblical story. For ages, historians said the Hittite Empire was just a myth. Then, whoops, in 1906 they found its entire capital city. Time and again, the physical evidence in the dirt has confirmed the details in the text.
All right, let's move on to our next exhibit. And this one is pretty mind-bending. We're talking about fulfilled prophecy.
The Old Testament is packed with these super specific predictions about a coming Messiah, all written centuries before Jesus was even born. I mean, the exact town he'd be born in, how he would die, even the price of his betrayal. And get this, Psalm 22 described death by crucifixion hundreds of years before the Romans even invented it. How do you explain that?
So you have to ask, what are the odds of this happening by chance? One mathematician actually ran the numbers on just 8 of these prophecies being fulfilled by one person. The answer he got was 1 in 100 quadrillion. That's a 1 with 17 zeros after it. I mean, that's not just unlikely. That is a statistical impossibility. It's just not going to happen by accident.
Okay, now we get to the absolute heart of the case. Every investigation has a central claim, and for Christianity, it all hinges on one single event, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. If it happened, the case is made. If it didn't, the whole thing just falls apart.
So, investigators look for facts that even the opposing sides can agree on. And in this case, most historians, even skeptical ones, concede 4 core facts. Any credible theory, whatever it is, has to be able to explain all of them: the execution, the empty tomb, the appearances, and the radical transformation of the disciples.
And this belief in the resurrection wasn't some legend that grew up over time. What you're looking at here is a creed, a statement of faith that scholars date to within just a few years of the crucifixion itself. This was being recited when hundreds of eyewitnesses were still alive and could have easily called it out if it wasn't true.
You know what makes a prosecutor's case really strong? When a witness for the other side ends up helping your argument. So let's call some hostile witnesses to the stand. What did non-Christian sources have to say about all this?
What's really fascinating is that Jesus' enemies never seemed to deny that he performed amazing works. Instead, they tried to explain them away, saying it was sorcery. Roman and Jewish historians confirm the core details. Jesus lived, he taught, he was crucified, and he had followers who insisted he was alive again. They don't endorse it, but they confirm the bedrock facts that any theory has to deal with.
Okay, so we've examined the case file, the prophecies, the archaeological record, and the testimony around the central event. Now it's time to step back and weigh the cumulative force of all this evidence together.
Cold case detectives have a saying for cases like this one. The power isn't in one single knockout piece of evidence. It's in the overwhelming weight of many small, independent facts, all pointing toward the same conclusion.
You could probably try to explain away any one of these pieces in isolation. But the real challenge is to account for them all at once. The unified story, the impossible odds of prophecy, the reliable manuscripts, the archaeology, the empty tomb, the transformed disciples, and the testimony from enemies. Together, they create a powerful, interwoven case.
So in the end, it comes down to one question, the same one a detective or a juror has to ask. What is the single best explanation that accounts for all the evidence on the table? The argument presented is that the resurrection of Jesus makes sense of it all. If you watched this video till the end, I want to say thank you. Please don't forget to like, share, and drop your comment in the comments section.